All right, how's things, Nathan?
Hi, all good, Sean. How are you?
Aye, good as gold, good as gold. It sounds
Funny
a bit.
fucking June. So, are you looking forward to Curacao tonight, shocking the world and getting to the knockout stages of the World Cup? Like,
Is it lined up for them? Like I haven't been.
it,
Well, I've been following it, but not to the level that.
it can be done. Like, the dream is alive. Obviously they got hammered by Germany. Mind you, did you watch that Germany match? Because in the first half, I know they scored one and they went
Mm,
in with a 2-1. They definitely could have been leading. Like,
yeah.
Germany put them to the sword in the second half, but in the first half, like, they were really good. They were really, really good on
Aye.
the break. But they got tanked
Aye.
by Germany. But then they got a point against Ecuador. So they're on 1 point. Ecuador's on 1 point. Ivory Coast are on three, and Germany are on six. And Curacao are playing Ivory Coast tonight. So, like,
Okay.
it could be done, like.
It could be done now, and I'll tell you. Do you know what? This is bad to say, like, but I kind of with these weaker teams, there is a lot of crossover. Like I'm kind of getting Curacao and Cape Verde mixed up, like at times, in the Qatar and Saudi Arabia. I know that sounds bad, but like it is. It'd be great to see them to get through. Like I think this World Cup, like I was a bit suspicious of these, like the amount of teams that are there, and whatnot. That the quality would have dropped and dipped, but it seems like the weaker teams for the most part really stepped up, like, and it's still been very competitive. I don't mind the odd, teams being put to the sword, but it has been competitive. Like I think they've give a good sort of account of themselves, really.
It's sort of crazy when you think about it that Curacao, as a country, have a population slightly more than Derry. Like, it's
That's madness, like.
155,000 as a country. Now, I know a lot of their players might not necessarily have been born in the
Mm,
country, but it is crazy, and it's great to see. You love an underdog, and then I suppose I might be being a complete idiot with this, like, but for a lot of those teams, they might never get back to a World Cup because, from my
mm,
understanding, they're Curacao are in the Concacaf
mm-hmm.
Federation, so there was sort of an opening for them. I think because
The host, is it?
Mexico, America, and Canada are already going in as the host nation. So it's like, they've really taken that opportunity and then they've sort of done themselves proud. I was really glad to see them get a point against Ecuador because I know Ecuador sort of flattered to deceive a bit, but they have some serious players. Like, you have your guy
Oh,
Pacho
100%.
from PSG and buddy
Luis Diaz.
Encapié and Caicedo and all these guys. Like, so I'm glad they got a point, but do you know what? I don't mind. I do like the Ivory Coast, but it would just be such a win for football if Curacao could win tonight. Like,
Oh, 100%. Had a bit of a brain fart there. Said Luis Diaz plays for Ecuador. Like I'm really exposing my ball knowledge here. Like
another yellow team, just wearing
I
bright yellow tops, like, so they're all the same. Like,
they're all the same. Like, but no, it's been interesting. Like I'll try and watch that tonight, certainly. But what do you make of Scotland going out?
I'm not upset. Like,
No, near am I. Like I'm losing absolutely zero sleep. I know Steve Clark's got a bit of a tough time in the media at the moment. I don't know if you've seen any of that.
I didn't see that, but I was watching a good bit of the match last night, and I don't know if just things are so fickle. And these guys obviously have a copious amount of knowledge about football and far more than I ever could have. But I just, everyone's playing the Guardiola, the Spain of like 2010 or whatever, ticky tacky stuff. And, sometimes you just don't have the players to do that. Like, I don't know if you
Hmm.
watched the match, but like the first goal came from a mistake. The second goal, which probably wasn't a foul, which was given as a foul, which should have been the second goal, also came from a defensive mistake, trying to play it at the back. And then I forget what other team I was watching last week, and they also gave away a goal because they were sort of fiddling about with it at the back. I just this is why I'd be Sean Dyche part two, but it's like you got to play the percentages. Like, what
Hmm.
team will play the ball out from the back and then manage to pass their way the whole way up the pitch, like, and score a goal.
Especially.
I understand maybe you're trying to draw the team on and then chip the ball over them, but I just think when you're a team that's up against it, like Scotland were against Brazil, you have to make it difficult. by putting those players, those Brazilian players, in a difficult position and sort of fiddling about with the ball in your own 18-yard box is just not it, like, in my opinion. But what are your thoughts on that? Because you're somebody that's an actual player, like, I am a true armchair general, like.
Well, I don't know. Well, I call myself an actual player, but I'll tell you, there is a part of me that, like, do you remember when Stephen Kenny, who is it they were playing? Was it England? And the rumours was when he was Ireland manager against England, he just put on like a montage of like basically, Ireland's greatest hits, like in
Yeah,
terms of like historical moments, really to instill a bit of patriotic pride and like, put a bit of fire in the belly. Like, I could imagine Steve Clark sort of being very pragmatic in his approach. Like, we're going to play the system, we're going to come out from the back like this, and, blah, blah, blah. I didn't watch much of the game, but I could imagine that's, and they got caught out and they got found out, like, against a team of superior quality. But, would it have been more effective for him to just come in, stick on, Braveheart, like, the William Wallace speech and just go, lads, remember who you are, like, go out and give these boys a good, rattle. Like, I feel like the players would have been like, you know what, you know, let's get after these boys. Let's make it difficult. Let's hound them. Let's not give anything away in the first 20 minutes. Get them turned, put them under pressure, and I know that sounds like very, oh, you're a football dinosaur there, but there is a, what's the word I'm looking for? There are moments, there is a time and a place for that. Like, do you know what I
but
mean?
but it's hilarious, how it's that old sort of analogy of how the costumes change, but things stay the same. Really, it's like people talk about now the high press. That's what Jack Charlton was doing with Ireland. Like,
Yeah.
put them under pressure. Literally, when they rehashed that Horselip song and everything, like
Aye.
as the words as the
Oh,
tune,
that
like,
gives you goosebumps, though, doesn't it?
but you get the ball in their half, in their third, and then just push and pile on them, and just make it difficult for them. I just think, and the other thing I suppose as well is, whenever you're up against top quality attackers, these guys can sniff out if you're nervous, and
Mm.
unfortunately it didn't work out. Like, now here's the thing: I wasn't actually antithetical to Scotland. Like, no, like if they had went and got a result last night against Brazil and kept the World Cup alive, like that would have just added to the character of this World Cup
Mm-hmm.
of presumably and proverbial smaller teams doing well against bigger teams. So like definitely would have added to it. But I'm to be honest, I'm probably a bit bitter about the fact that we're not there.
Well, that's it. Like, and you see how poorly the Czech Republic or Czechia, whatever they're known as now, have done.
South Africa are through. Like, South Africa got out of that group. That would have been the group we were in. Like,
That's madness. Like, it's really, it's upsetting. Like, it really is upsetting that we're not sort of in there. But I don't know. We probably didn't deserve in the end up, but those last couple of games, I know we did turn it on, but it's a shame. Like, maybe what age were you 6 last time? Do you mind any of
uh,
02?
eight. I was eight. I remember
8.
being in primary four, and it's funny how there's certain snatches of memories that you can relate that are very clear in your head, and then massive blank spaces for years. But I remember sitting in the top right hand corner of the room, and the teacher bringing in the TV that went as far back as as anything, like, and wheeling it into the room. They go in the corner, and all the boys in the class and a few of the girls, huddle around this TV to just catch a glimpse of it, like. Um, and then, of course, the iconic moments, like, remember Duff Boy into the crowd
Hmm.
and everything. It was, but I was too young to fully obviously grasp
Appreciate
it.
it.
But you look back and like, what an Ireland team, like,
Ah,
unbelievable.
unbelievable. Like, and I don't know. Like, I think.
How far could we have went if Keane was there? Like,
Well, what did they get to in the end? Was it quarters or
no, it wasn't quarters. I think did
was
we
it
even
around
get out of the
this?
group?
Aye, because they got
Or
knocked out by Spain on
I,
penalties.
oh, so you're right. Sorry, so 16. Then it must have been like.
Round 16. Like, your quarterfinals. Like, didn't they? They got a result against Germany in the group.
Um,
Is that wrong? Isn't
my
that too
memory,
dull?
but maybe it's another match from that World Cup. I remember closest scoring a hat trick of headers. I don't know if
Right.
that was against us or if it was against somebody else, or maybe I'm just completely making it up. But
I'm going to have a wee Google here, but I'm pretty sure, like,
um,
that, you know, who was it? I'm pretty sure that Ireland, let me search on my phone. I'm pretty sure Ireland got a result against Germany because I remember that Robbie Keane goal where he did the cartwheel.
it was us, Germany. Was it Iran in the group as well?
Could have been one each. Like they drew with Germany one each, and obviously Germany got to the final. Like, do you know what I mean? Um, have I read that? Yeah, I've read that right. Yeah. So do you know what I mean? Like that's they were a top Germany side, like, and we've got a result against them, and I don't know. We live in hope. Like someday, I think I hope we get to a World Cup. Like,
You just hope
um,
that it's because the thing is now the way that the die is cast, it seems sort of inevitable. Not maybe not inevitable, but it wouldn't surprise you if we got to the European Championships. The problem is,
mm,
like that is great, right? But one, the World Cup is different, and two,
yeah,
it's so much harder to do well in the European Championships. Like
oh,
there's no gimme
100%.
sides, there really isn't. So then you go to the European Championships, and like remember the last time we were there, and we were the fourth seeded team, and we had like at least Spain and Croatia or something like
Yeah,
that in our group, like.
that was in
So
2012. Yeah, that was like, and like two of those teams went to the final. Do you know what I mean?
mm,
And it's like it's
do you
crazy.
fancy a
Like
trip to Spain, Portugal, and Morocco in 4 years' time for the next World Cup?
it could be done. Like I see though that is it that World Cup as well that or one of the World Cups is going to be some of it's going to be in South America. It's going to be split between South America and Europe.
I'm not entirely familiar with it, but I know that 2030 is 100 years since the first World Cup, which obviously Uruguay won. So maybe I misunderstood it. I thought what they were going to do is they were going to have the first match of the World Cup in Uruguay, and then the
Okay, that
rest of
could be
it
it.
in Spain, Portugal, Morocco. I might be completely wrong, but I know there's definitely something about obviously the centenary of it, and then Uruguay being first winners and stuff. Uruguay might even have hosted that first World Cup, did they? I don't know.
They did, yeah.
So it'd be a nice homage if they did something like.
I know that'd be quite good. Like, no, definitely. Right, so I suppose we really jumped on to record this to talk about wrestling, and we've just blasted out 12 minutes of World Cup talk, but hopefully
There'll be
listeners
somebody
will
out
take
there that's
value from it.
enjoyed it. There's somebody
Ah,
out there, I'm sure.
oh, 100%. So, we started off Monday there. We had Raw, which was recorded in London. Interestingly, they're back in Europe after previously having been in Europe and sort of the. Now we're heading towards Night of Champions, which is going to be this Saturday. So, just having a look at my notes here. We started off with Oba Femi, I believe.
Yeah.
Oba Femi's promo. Um, and basically, very good promo on his part. Basically, I suppose, stating his case for why he's going to be King of the Ring and what basically his plan of action is going to be post Night of Champions. And then he was interrupted by Jey Uso, who sort of made his argument, made his case. I would say two good solid promos from both. Now I do have opinions on both men, but I think it was a good opening segment just to set us up for the show. What was your thoughts on that?
Um, yeah, absolutely. Like, I think one of my sort of side quests now is to see the different shirts that Oba Femi wears when he's not in wrestling gear. Like,
Yeah,
you know, the different that he must have some wardrobe of shirts. Like, jealous, but not. Look, I thought know that sort of personification that happens where he's referring to Destiny constantly as her and she has smiled on me and all. I love that stuff. Like I love
yeah,
all that figurative stuff, and it just seems to add a gravitas to stuff and to the promo and to the plot line and everything. And I suppose that's compounded by the fact that as soon as the way he's been booked, the way Oba Femi is, he adds gravitas just being there. So I thought that his was fantastic. Now I do have a question on something Jay said, but you said you have
Okay.
opinion, so I'm curious. I'm curious to hear yours, like first.
Um, I suppose like the notes I've written down here now. If I want to focus on Jay, like the first thing is like he's obviously being continued to be given the spot, um, and like the last time he was put into the spot, it fell very very flat, like very very quickly, and it seemed to me at that time that they had given them the ball, he had dropped the ball, and I thought that was it. Now, depending on what they're setting up in the future, I guess he didn't like he's been sort of put back into this spot, and if I was a betting man, I would say there's a very good chance he could win King of the Ring. I don't know if that's something you agree with. I think my thought is that Oba could or should win, but I do have a feeling that he's going to be interrupted by Brock, and there's going to be some shenanigans there that's going to cost him, and that's going to be our build up then into SummerSlam. But I do think I would like to see Oba win and basically decimate Roman Reigns. But I'm not sure. What's your sort of take on that?
Well, I would echo a lot of what you said and add that um, obviously, Jay gets a fantastic reaction from the crowd whenever he
Mm-hmm.
comes out with his theme and all of that. But how are we supposed to take this guy seriously whenever, like 2 weeks ago, he was being a stooge for Roman Reigns? Like,
Yeah.
this is like back whenever Austin and McMahon were having the feud, and you had like Jerry Briscoe and all these guys getting involved.
Mm.
That's sort of tantamount to what Jey and Jimmy Uso are now. And the thing is, like, they're so much better than that. And as
Yeah.
a tag team, wow, they're fantastic. But you can't. Obviously, you can have multiple storylines going on simultaneously, but you know, you can't have two that are presenting somebody in such contrary ways. Like, how can we take him seriously whenever was it LA Knight a few weeks ago called him out and basically just being an errand boy for Roman? Like,
Yeah.
and now we're supposed to believe that this guy's going to beat Oba Femi. But in terms of what he can actually control, I thought his promo was really good. There was just
It
one
was.
point
Yeah.
on it where I thought he said, "I'm him," and I was like, "Sorry, is Carmelo Hayes out here right now? What's going on?" And it's such a weird piece of syntax, like, because whenever, like, even now, like, I'm a huge Carmelo Hayes fan, but I don't really know what "I am him" means. But obviously, it's his catchphrase, Carmelo's. But there's a point where Jay says, "I'm him," and he really emphasized the him part. So that was the only sort of tidbit that I identified that I thought, what's going on here?
You know that like I'm him thing. Like I would say traditionally, what you've heard from stories in the past is that like stuff like that was very very protected. Do you know what I mean? Like catchphrases, finishers, and so on. Do you think like that's putting Carmelo Hayes' nose out of joint, or does the modern wrestler sort of view it as like, no, it's no big deal. Like we're all just trying to do what's best for business, or is he taking personal gripe to that and going, hold on, like that's my catchphrase, or is it a slip of the tongue from Jay, or like I would like to say that Carmelo's going like, hold on, like you know he's got that old school approach, like he's like,
Uh,
this is my gimmick, I've got that over, and you've just stole my, like you stole my line, like like Stone Cold. Like if somebody's throwing out that's the bottom line, you can't tell me that Stone Cold's not contact. Maybe not now, but when he was a current or he was an active member of the roster, isn't just going, hold on, like what are you playing at here? Do you know what I mean?
there is something very romanticized about this idea that Carmel is waiting for him, just as Jay
Aye,
comes behind the curtain. Like, like the thing is, like, it could easily be just a slip of the tongue, but I think you've sort of stumbled upon an interesting point. The whole idea of catchphrases, and I forget who it was I was listening to a good few years ago now, but they were saying they were reflecting back on the Attitude Era, and they were
Hmm.
referencing the fact that nearly everyone has had a catchphrase, or everyone had a catchphrase, and they've sort of went back to that. Like when you think about it, you look at how Cody opens his promos. You know, what do we
Yeah.
want to talk about? You look at Trick Williams. Let's talk about it. Um, you look at the LA Knight, yeah, stuff. And here's the thing: I'm not actually criticizing it. But I think that it's nearly either people have observed it and have realized that it's really working, or I don't know if it's a company line of trying to help talent by saying, you should try to get your own catchphrase to sort of demarcate you from other people. But I know I think that the catchphrase thing is definitely everyone has a catchphrase now. You know,
Well, well, have you noticed with Jay when he's doing his promos, and he's obviously got a particular style of promo that he feels very comfortable delivering, but he kind of does this like Roman. Did you notice that? He just gives a. Like, what is that? Like,
oh, yeah. They're like
doesn't he though?
unintelligible grunt like.
Aye, it just goes Roman and Jimmy. And then the crowd, like, obviously, that's his thing. Like, we're going to win the titles. Why does he throw that in? Am I like imagining that, or
No,
have you noticed that? Like, he definitely does that. Like,
I have to admit, when you started, I had no idea what it was like, and then when you started doing it, I was like, "Oh no, no, I get you." This is the thing. Like, I'm so, even though I don't feel that old or anything, I feel like I'm so out of touch with everything that there are certain times when things are happening, and I don't really know what they mean. So I just sort of take it as a given that everyone else knows what they mean. It's like
yeah,
whenever the Street Profits say we want to smoke, you know.
yeah.
So I never really knew what that meant. I assumed it was something and that it was sort of common knowledge. But it obviously isn't because you don't understand. I don't know. Do you think it's a deliberate thing by him, or is it a filler? It seems deliberate. Like, it seems very deliberate.
It seems deliberate, but he obviously is using it as a crutch. Do you know what I mean? It almost feels like, like the what chance. Like he's almost doing it. Like the crowd would just, he's almost cutting the crowd off by the legs before they get the opportunity to say what. And he's going, and then they go, yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, because 100%, like, I know what you're saying there, and I know we spoke previously about the Street Profits stuff, where they're obviously saying, like, we want the heat or we want the smoke or
The street
whatever.
the street profits are up, and we want to smoke.
We want the smoke, which to me makes sense. Like, I can get where I think that's quite clever. Like, but like, that's just like that's just a grunt. Like, do you know what I mean? Like why does what is that? I don't know. It's a bit peculiar. Like,
I would
definitely a
love to
bit
know if
peculiar.
somebody has told them to do it, or if somebody has. I would love to know what people's opinions on that are. Because
Mm,
like the thing is, if us two guys that aren't in the business or anything or can pick up on it, no, with you, like, then other people obviously have. Like, is anyone at the end of the night, like, is this guy getting a slagging about this? Like, is,
aye.
is his fellow like or his comrades in arms out the back, like, are they slagging him about this? Like, are they doing a
Well,
count every time he's out? Are they doing a count of how many times he does it?
I know why it's like take a shot every time he does it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, but I wouldn't say anyone's slagging him just for the fact that he's continuing to do it. Like, and someone's probably told him that's good. But like, where does that start? What does that snowball from? Has he done that and cognitively just went, "Oh, that wasn't bad. Like, I actually like that." Or is this something he's done from childhood? Like, like you could imagine him arguing with, Jimmy when he's like a kid and just going like,
You
you
took
know,
my
uh,
toy.
you took my toy. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think like I don't know. It's definitely peculiar. I think. Do you think I had that theory that Brock comes in and there's shenanigans and that Jay wins King of the Ring?
Ultimately, I suppose, doesn't it? It boils down to how Brock wants to call us out, doesn't it? Really, if Brock, like, I don't know if he's a sentimental guy or whatever, but if he wants to go out in Minneapolis at
Mm-hmm.
SummerSlam, that makes perfect sense. The thought had crossed my mind too. That there's gonna be some sort of interference, and then he's gonna win, and you'll have the Brock Oba stuff. But even if it's not Brock Oba, there's so many guys in this bloodline thing. Like, would it really surprise you if they're hiding another one underneath the ring? Like, and
I know.
it comes out to cost Oba during the match. So I think there are multiple ways that can it can be done where there are shenanigans, which ends up with Jey winning. Similar to you, I hope Oba wins. I really do. And I think what you could easily do, you could have Oba win, Oba versus Roman, and you could have Brock interfere in that,
Yeah.
so that you're not getting rid of that really WrestleMania tier match of Oba versus Roman, but you're giving it's nearly like a litmus test. You're giving the crowd a taster of it and seeing how they're responding to it. But then Brock interferes, and as a result, Oba has unfinished business with him, and he can sort of go off on that tangent to deal with
Mm.
Brock, and then eventually circle back round, win the Rumble, and face Roman or whatever at WrestleMania. So there's multiple ways of doing it. I would love to see Oba win. I really don't know how it's going to go. I know that you think Jey. I don't know. I really don't. Although it's funny, whenever you look at all the guys that were in the King of the Ring, maybe I'm just naive. I just wouldn't have. I never thought that Jey Uso would have made the final.
No, they're obviously setting something up. I don't know. There is another part of me. I think the way you sort of laid it out there, I think that would work. I think ultimately Brock's last match is SummerSlam. Like, I would be super shocked if this guy says WrestleMania next year. But I suppose that, I don't know, it's a difficult one how to do it. But like, as you say, like, I just don't think if Jay wins King of the Ring, it feels a bit too premature if they're going to go with this bloodline thing again for him to face Roman. But I suppose then, on the other hand, he could go against who's the current champion, Cody, isn't it?
Cody.
So he could go against Cody. But like, is this guy like? Do people want to see this? Like,
Well,
I have no interest in seeing any of this.
well, that's the thing. Yeah, like you know, does anyone want to see Cody Rhodes versus Jey Uso at SummerSlam? Like,
No
you
way,
know,
like.
and the thing is, there have already been so many. Um, there've been so many, like on off stop start things between Cody and Jay, for years, like backstage segments and this and that. Like I don't think it needs to happen. And then the other thing is, um, call me. I know I'm definitely in the minority in this regard, but like I do love the brand split,
Yeah.
and it would have been nice if you had one SmackDown and one Raw superstar in the finals. And then naturally the SmackDown superstar would face Cody if he won. The Raw superstar, if he won, would face Roman. But you've obviously got two Raw superstars, so I don't know if I know the brand split isn't actually that strict at the minute, which is a discussion for another day. But I just don't like the idea then of somebody from Raw winning and just hopping across to SmackDown to face Cody.
Yeah.
Like whenever the SmackDown roster is so stacked with talent anyway.
It doesn't really make sense. Like, yeah, as
And
you
also,
say, it's
does anyone really want to see Jey Uso pin Oba Femi for 1, 2, 3? Like this guy's
no
had
way.
one loss since he's debuted on the main roster, like against
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar, like.
Which was a bit controversial, but like, I don't know. There needs to be a bit of believability and credibility. Like, this guy, like, would we be in agreement that there's some sort of shenanigans or Oba squashes him? Like, I can't see Jay winning clean.
I would agree with you. I think it'll all depend. Won't it? I suppose they've hinted at this a bit, but it's escaping me now the details. Depends on when where they're positioned on the card. I feel like if
Mm.
they're opening, you know, Oba squashes them. Like
Yeah,
if
that
they
would make
open with it,
sense.
I don't know if they're going to open. I would say probably not, but if they do open it, I think Oba squashes them.
Hopefully. Like, I just can't see it. Like, but
So what you're trying, so
anyways,
really, in essence, what you're saying is that for you, Jey Uso is not him. Then
he is definitely not him. I think that is correct and precise. You know. But so then we moved on to LA Knight.
how
Now,
fantastic is this, by the way?
what
Yeah.
what was it stood out to you then?
the line where LA Knight confronts Adam Pearce and says, "Do the Bloodline have some compromising photos of you?"
Aye, that's right. Yeah, it was
No,
very
in
good.
reference
Like,
to just the constant favors that the Bloodline are getting. Um, it's funny knowing those wee quips, nearly like a Marvel film. LA Knight's fantastic when he's just
mm,
in short bursts of quips.
yeah,
Like he can be really, really funny. Like.
he can be very good and charismatic, but it is difficult. Like, I've wrote some notes. Like, to me last year, I thought this guy's really, really good. I thought it was obvious that they could pull the trigger with him. I know his age and stuff, and he's kind of, I suppose, to use a football analogy, there's a bit of Granit Xhaka about this guy, like, in the sense that he's, hit another level, like, probably, and he's playing some of the best football of his career at the latter end of it. But and I rate him. I really rate him. But it seems that they don't rate him. And he hasn't really evolved in the last year. And it feels like there's been a lot of disconnect in some of his storylines. And he hasn't been given anything with substance. So I'm not sure like what they do with this guy. Like, do you know?
You know what's funny? When you say about him not evolving, I think there's some truth to that. To me, I really love him. Like I think he's great, but I think it's because over the last year and a bit, like or more than that, he's essentially been the mouthpiece for the audience. Like,
Mm,
all the stuff he's saying about the bloodline. That's exactly what we're all
everyone's
thinking.
thinking.
Like we're all thinking, and um, we're all just a bit sick of it. Like, and but this guy's saying it, and there's something very endearing about that.
Well, like I wasn't fully invested the last time the Bloodline went on this huge run, and it was obviously probably the biggest thing they've done for years. But you know, right? We had last week. Our Truth had a dig at them. I feel like that was a subtle dig. LA Knights had a bit of a subtle dig. I know that's part of the storytelling, whatnot, but like, do you think people backstage are like, the talent are like, what is this? Like, we've done this. Like, we've bought apples from this cart before. Can we just move this thing on? Like, would you speculate that there's a bit of frustration? Has to be. Like, has to be. Like, LA Knight should be looking at some of the guys. They're getting these opportunities and thinking like, what do I need to do? Like,
Right, pardon me for being an idiot. And not to steal the thunder from a future segment on the show, but um, is LA Knight in the same position as Chad Gable in that he has never won a singles title? Or was he United States champion for a while or something?
he might have had a US title at one stage. I can have a wee look here.
Like there was a
Um,
point, as you say, about a year ago, 18 months ago, where he was like
he was hot.
white
Like,
hot, like,
yeah.
and he could have been the guy. I wonder, is there an element of if I wonder, is there an element of people looking and thinking, if it's going to be Bloodline 2.0 and they're going to be booked in the same way, then that means there's going to be a ton of people that are going to be fed to the wolves, like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and, if Roman's going to have another title reign of years, then that's going to be years of just different people stepping up and being kicked back. And here's,
Not to cut you off, I want you to keep going with that train of thought, but he has won a US title in, I think, 2023, I believe.
right.
So,
He, Now again, I don't because I remember we're like 35 minutes in nearly, and we're only on like the second. We're about probably 15 minutes into the 3 hour show, but um, this is maybe something for us to ruminate on and come back to in a few weeks' time. But when you think back on that Bloodline era, and they were superb. Like it was, and Roman was fantastic. What a heel, and Paul Heyman there, and it was just excellent. But here's like something to think on: how many people did they actually elevate during that time? Like Sami Zayn was elevated,
mm,
certainly. But how many of the other guys that Roman just put down were actually elevated, actually benefited long term from being in the storyline with the bloodline? Like, and again,
well,
it's not a rhetorical question in that I know the answer, I have an idea of it. I genuinely don't, but I just think obviously LA Knight had a feud with them, and it seemed like this was going to be the start of great things for him. and he lost, and that's fair enough from losing to Roman Reigns, but it didn't prove the catalyst that I thought it was going to. Them then go and achieve something else. So it's maybe something like you might be able to disprove me in an instant, but it's something worth think about. Like how many guys did this stable actually elevate? Like obviously Jimmy and Jay, and not even Jimmy really. To be honest, he's in the same place as he was before. Jay and Sammy, Zayn, is that
But
it?
Solo, do you think Solo got elevated from it?
You're right, actually, definitely.
But like still, like you think of, and maybe it's not good to draw comparisons, but I feel like I don't know the NWO stuff. Like they elevated quite a few guys off the back of it now, and they were like feeding guys to the wolves there. But there were some stars came out of that. I'm just thinking like DDP and Sting and so on. But Solo, like again, I wasn't that heavily invested, but he seems to be the only one. But that being said, like he's came back to this, like it looks like stuff hasn't quite worked. Like the bloodlines never really died because the MFTs are essentially, B-Tech bloodline, and things haven't quite worked out with that. So now they're going to rehash this
Although
because it's convenient.
I suppose we will speak about it later in the show, or maybe we'll just bring it up now. It doesn't really have to be chronological. I loved what Solo did on the show, like
On this show,
yeah, or was it this show, or
the last show was it?
Was it this show or SmackDown where Solo where they got involved and like spiked somebody? I know it was the show. Solo. My mind just no. Solo spikes Jimmy, that leads to LA Knight getting the win. Like,
yeah.
I love that because we've already had the disobedient children, Jimmy and Jay, just revert back to type whenever the head of the table's back. It would have just killed me to see Solo just go back to, and Jacob now just becoming essentially a slave again. So it would have been just awful to see Solo going and be a slave. So I love this bit of fight from Solo and I hope they run with it. Like if this ends in another tribal combat thing where Solo loses again for the second time, like
this is what it could be like. I don't want to say this, or what do they call it? What was it the match with Jacob and Roman they called it?
Tribal combat.
What's that even mean? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, just making stuff up. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, I don't really want to see it. I'm sure people were popular. Maybe I wasn't. I know I said there I wasn't invested as others were at the time of this, so I don't have the same appreciation. But it feels too soon. Like, this isn't like rehashing DX, 8, 9, 10 years after the original DX. And like, that gimmick evolved. Like, this feels like a carbon copy. Do you know what I mean? Like, is there really an evolution to this?
A carbon copy, but like without Roman being around.
Do you know what I mean?
used to remember. I remember, whenever they were obviously on SmackDown and Roman would come out and they got him that great entrance music, and he would come out and ask people to acknowledge them, and the crowd would react, and Heyman would cut a great promo, and in a way the non-wrestling content of it was worth the price of admission alone. It was fantastic. But now it's like you're trying to rehash it, but without Roman, without Heyman.
Especially Heyman. Heyman's a big loss. Do you know what I mean? Like, he really did take it to another level. Like, the bloodline doesn't happen without Heyman. Like,
he's such a genius. Like, and do you know what? Again, bit of a side tangent, but thank God they mentioned that Heyman is like recovering, still recovering from the spear that he had got, because I do love that sort of continuity. Like whenever he's supposed to be out with the Vision and he's not there, and you sort of can, it's fairly obvious. You can put two and two together and say that he's injured because of the spear. But I like the fact that they mentioned that just to remind the audience, Paul Heyman's not here because of this, that, or the other. Like,
is it a coincidence though that Paul Heyman doesn't want, like, he's not involved in this? Like, is there a scenario where Paul Heyman's like, this isn't a good move, like, this isn't what we should be pursuing, and he doesn't want to get involved? I know he probably wants to elevate other stars, and I know he's currently doing that. But is it a coincidence that he's like, no, I just want to. I don't want to get involved in this. This isn't a good angle. I don't want to be. I don't want to be contaminated with it. To use, a strong word.
You
Do you
mean
know what I
with
mean?
you mean with the Vision or with the Bloodline
The
2.0?
bloodline, the 2.0 bloodline. Does
You know
he
what?
really?
I think it's discreet enough that it would actually be weird if he was there, like, because the
Mm,
Vision are supposed to be his guys now. Like, now the whole
he's
Brock
obviously
thing,
ditched them though. You know what I
like the
mean?
Brock thing, but you see, within storyline, you could argue that he hasn't, because wasn't it 2 weeks ago where whenever Braun Breaker speared him through the barrier,
Yeah.
and like they referenced that in commentary. So
Mm-hmm.
within the storyline, you can definitely make an argument that Heyman's still recovering from that. Like, but I think it would be really weird if he came out
Roman
with
again.
Roman and stuff. Because the other thing is, then that's expecting us just to forget about the
Forget.
fact
Yeah.
that he betrayed Roman. But then again, like, he betrayed Brock too, and he was out with Brock at WrestleMania. But
I am. But no, as you say, there might be some things to ruminate. But we move on to Paige and Brie Bella versus Lyra and Bailey. Now, it was pretty obvious Paige is going to go over. I think eventually they do drop the belt. I'm not sure who they do that to. Obviously going to get a Lyra and Bailey feud. Um, is this make or break for her though? Because we've spoke about this previously. They have a lot of faith in this girl, and they've obviously turned to heel. To me, she does come across as a natural baby face, and I think we spoke about that. There is a part of you that wants to cheer her, but naturally, you know, I don't know if this works for her as a heel though. I'd be interested to see. She could be very, very good at this, but it does feel a bit of make or break because they obviously do see something in her.
yeah, no, just one thing before we actually will talk about the aftermath of the heel turn. Did you notice that at one point Lyra had Nightwing and Brie Bella kicked out after one? Like, what a
No,
slap
I
in the
didn't notice
face!
that.
Like, Lyra hits Nightwing, perfect Nightwing, center of the ring. Like, she covers and Brie kicks out after one. Like,
Do you think she's done that deliberately? Like,
no, I think just the timing's off. Like, I think
do you think it's produced for her to kick out at two, but she's just jumped the gun a wee bit?
yeah, probably. But it's
Aye,
just something that was I just noticed, like, because I really don't. I don't think people should be kicking out of finishers, like, ever. This should be a
aye,
really special thing. But um, I don't know. I really hope it works. I really hope it works. I think I loved the visuals of when she smudged the makeup. I know you weren't a fan
yeah.
of that. I loved it. I loved, like, obviously the promo before the match. No, it's nearly like, the World Cup whenever they're doing these halftime interviews. Like,
Aye,
they're
that's
just
right.
so
Yeah.
bizarre. Like, but this promo before their music hit, um, Lyra
Was
seemed
it?
very determined, very aggressive. No, now or never for us. And then Corey Graves referenced that a few times throughout the match. So it was obviously hinted at, a lot of foreshadowing. I thought her smudging the makeup was fantastic. It made for a great visual before she turned on Bailey. Um, the one thing that sort of, if they were going to do that, why didn't they have Bailey losing the match?
Mm,
It sort of looks a bit silly because Lyra was the one that lost it, like, and now
yeah,
she's
and
turned it.
it's
Like, if
she's
Bailey had,
putting the blame.
yeah, if Bailey had lost it, and then it could sort of definitely make sense that Lyra could maybe make a justification for why she had a turn on her. Um, I loved Michael Cole's line when Lyra attacked Bailey, and he said she nearly decapitates Bailey. I did just the way he pronounced it. It was sort of quite
Aye,
funny. Like, I do love stuff like that. Like, it just felt very organic. Like, But I hope this works. I think the whole, like, her whole character and the link to the Morgan of Irish mythology and stuff. There's definitely a lot she could do with that. Like,
yeah.
obviously, I think they'll need to change the music because it gets such a great reaction from the crowd. But they
Mm-hmm.
could do like what they did with Nakamura. Remember when Nakamura had
Just
that
altered.
heel run, which was like, where's that guy? I love this guy so
Yeah.
much. Like, but anyway, could have done so much more with him. But if they alter her music and stuff, I think there's enough in Irish mythology and that character of the Morgan that this could work. Like, I don't know if it
Yeah.
will. It could work, and I really hope it does, because like you want to see a girl from Ireland do well.
100%. Like, to go back to the point you made about, because listen, you've obviously studied it a little bit more than I have. But to go back to that visual that you were talking about with the smeared makeup and stuff and the smudged makeup, do you think that's deliberate, or this is just it's just a good visual that maybe a more informed fan like yourself has picked up on, or do you think that's very deliberate from like a producer or from Lyra herself?
It's a good question. I suppose she's the only one really that can answer it. I'm not sure. I'll tell you this. Uh, I'll pick a bone with you on the term that I'm an informed fan. We definitely know that's not true, but um, I don't know. That could even be something, a conversation between her and Bailey, like, because Bailey obviously
Mm,
has a great mind, you know,
yeah,
for the wrestling business, and you know, maybe Lyra came up with it herself, but you could 100% imagine Bailey saying, look, this will really look good, whenever you do it or whatever. The one thing that makes me think that it might have been instinctual, or maybe it wasn't passed on to the higher ups, was there was no close shot of her
yeah,
with the smudged makeup. Like, it is very clearly visible and you can see it, but they didn't have that really tight shot of her face with the smudged makeup and stuff, which could have made it even more pronounced. So it really makes you think it was on the fly, or it was maybe something her and Bailey discussed, but it didn't pass on or whatever.
no, it's interesting. Interesting to think about. Like, I would agree. Like, I think Bailey, like, she's someone you could see being involved in like running the show after she retires, whether it be through NXT or producing. Because I don't know if there's that many female producers. But you could imagine she could produce a good match, a good segment. Like, she is a class act in that regard when it comes to that in ring stuff and structuring a good match and storytelling and so on. So yeah, not interesting, interesting. So we'll have to see how that plays out. We didn't really touch too much on Paige and Brie. I think, as I said, she's naturally always going to go over. I don't know where they pulled the trigger on this, but obviously
Last
this is
week,
going to be a Lyra and Bailey feud. What was that?
you said when I don't know when they're going to pull the trigger on this, and I said last week, or 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago,
Aye.
or
Well, listen, sooner the better. Like, but I don't think we'll have to wait too long on that. But
for
I
for
want to
for
move.
both of them, like, as well, because
100%. Like,
like
it's
Paige
going
can
to
have
it's
some
going to
great
stay like.
matches with some of the single stars. No, on that, because I know we are rambling a bit, like, but you know, uh, is this going to end with you know, does this end with Brie turning on Paige and siding with Nikki, like, when she comes back, or do they flip the script, and does it end with, you know, Nikki and Paige, like, turning on Brie or whatever?
I could see the latter. I think the latter would be interesting. But obviously they're going to play out something like that, which would be interesting if they did that in the next 2 weeks. Like, I think that'd be so interesting, especially what's happened Lyra and Bailey. But it'd be, I
I
would,
think
I
it's
would
the
like,
Bellas. I think the Bellas turn on Paige, because
yeah,
one, I think Paige is getting a great reaction from the crowd, and two, you've got the whole. It sort of makes sense for the twins to be together, to be, beating up on her or whatever, like, and also before Brie, like, returned, and we were just, again, another great example of the audience just expected to forget stuff. Nikki had turned heel, like,
yeah, that's right.
and then she just went back to being face because Bree was back, or whatever. That's not Nikki's fault, like, but it sort of makes sense. And then the other thing is, if Nikki and Paige were together, and this is no disrespect to her whatsoever, but is anyone really believing that Bree could beat either of these girls? Like, because
No,
Paige is the no. You just look at the titles that Paige and Nikki have between them,
between them,
um, but you could believe that Paige could beat them, like, So
yeah.
I think it probably works out with Nikki and Brie turning on Paige. Maybe, I don't know.
No, yeah, I could see that 100%. So we'll see how it plays out, anyways. I know we spoke about we're sort of getting on quite a bit here, but I did want to talk about this. To me, this was one of the best segments of the night. The Chad Gable segment from what I have my notes. He delivered a very emotional promo. I thought Maxine was excellent in this as well.
Yeah.
Definitely seen another side there. I know we spoke about that before. And sort of good with her promo work, which I think serves her quite well, considering probably not the most natural in ring performer. Um, the one that really got me, like Otis's facials. He obviously does this kind of like a sort
Yeah.
of look, and he's very good at it. Like he's very lovable. He's a very natural face. I'm just a big fan of his. I think I don't know how this plays out. As I say, it was a very emotional promo, but ultimately Maxine, from what they're sort of hinting, a lot of foreshadowing going on, is going to break away from them and join Austin Theory and presumably the Vision. And then I'm not sure where this leaves Gable. Do you want to actually see Gable get back with American Alpha, or is this him just sort of offering some reconciliation and then is going to do his own thing, or is he taking these guys under his wing again?
It's like the Chad Gable apology tour, like, you know.
Well, that is it, isn't it? Like,
But the thing is, I'm loving it. Like at the same time, you know, it's nearly comedic. You know, a few weeks ago, whenever he was going to different luchadors, and each one was saying, "No, thank you," but you know who you really have to go to. And then the next week, you have to go to a different luchador or whatever. Like,
yeah.
I don't know how this plays out. I thought, Otis. Did you notice when Otis was coming into the ring, he did like a mock kiss to the camera.
Oh,
So
did I?
fantastic, so fantastic. Like, and then. I thought as well, like, remember Otis was when he came into the ring, he was going to embrace Gable, or no, not
Mm-hmm.
came in the ring after the apology, and Maxine stopped him. Like
Yeah,
that
that's
was
right.
really good. And the other thing is, everything Maxine said is 100% correct,
Yeah.
and I love Drew McIntyre was fantastic at this. Uh, a heel that has genuine grievances, like that's fantastic. Whenever you're a bad guy, or in this case, you're bad. Um, Garrett in this case, Maxine, everything she's saying and all the things that have put her nose out of joint are 100% justified. Like,
They're all
and that's
valid, yeah.
great. That's fantastic. So, big props to her. I loved it. Really, really emotive. Really, really emotive, and
Oh,
that moment
certainly.
between Gable and Otis. I want to see more of this. Like, I want to see
Yeah.
more of this. Give this as much time to breathe and to fully develop as it needs. This could be great. Side note: if Maxine joins the Vision, do you think she dyes her hair?
I don't know. Does she shave her head, like? Do you know what I mean?
Um, Probably not. Like Austin Theory's there with, or not Austin Theory. Logan's there with his bright blonde hair. Like it would be sort of hilarious though if
It
Maxine went
would be
and she
quite
just
funny,
like
like.
dyed her hair black or something. Like
Where does she fit in that group, though?
I think she could be perfect. I think she could
You
be
think?
superb. Yeah, it's like remember after LA Knight did debut as the guy in charge of Maximum Male Models. Like, well,
Yeah.
this was how this guy debuted. Like, and
Aye,
then
that's right.
they replaced him with Maxine, who was his sister. You know,
Mm,
taking over the stable. I think she's really good at that. Like, I
mm,
actually really, I think when she's speaking and stuff, I think she's very good. Like, and I think
mm.
she sort of has a she has I don't know. I just think she has something that you sort of wanna listen to what she has to say. So if she's gonna be like a valet that gets involved and causes shenanigans for the Vision and allows them to cheat to win, I'm all for it. Like because I
Yeah.
love seeing the bad guys doing using cheating to win. I don't want to see
Yeah.
bad guys win cleanly. Like
Yeah. No, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, and I think you've made a good case for her there. So hopefully, yeah, they pull the trigger on that. It will be an interesting one to see what they do. I do think they should utilize Otis more. I think
yeah,
he's really good, like really good. So yeah, we'll move on anyways. Next we had honestly like cut me off of him chatting nonsense here with Ethan Page and Dragon Lee. I'm correct. That's what
yeah,
I have in my notes.
yeah,
Good match, but very difficult to get invested in. Like you cut this out. If they edit this out on Netflix, I don't think it takes away from the show whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's like the only other thing, I don't have much on this, but like, what is Ethan Page like? Like, what's this guy meant to pull me in? What's his USP? What is separating him from the likes of the guys that came in, like Ricky Saints, like Oba Femi, like even guys that have been there now for a couple of years, like Ethan Page, even LA Knight. Like he feels like somebody you would create in a SmackDown versus Raw game. Like, do you know what I mean? Like this guy, I don't know. I haven't followed his career that tightly. I haven't seen much of his previous work, but there's this guy showing me nothing at the minute. That
You know that line that they mentioned? Is it legit that he was like commended by the government of Canada? Or
I
was
do
that,
like that line. There could be truth to it, and I think that would be quite funny.
that would be
I do like that line, but
you know
still,
what would be fantastic considering this whole game like no absolute um no, it's absolute Ricky Saints, isn't it? It's all
I think
evil
so.
Ethan
Yeah,
Page, that's it, yeah. It would be
which
sort of
actually does sound good.
it would be sort of hilarious if he had got some award from the Canadian government, and if he started doing a Kurt Angle like, and he started
Yeah.
coming out every week with his award. You know, I feel like that would be entertaining. But yeah, it's a real pity because I think Dragon Lee's a slick operator, like, but yeah, sadly not much investment, but that is nothing down. That's nothing to do with the talent involved themselves.
I'm looking at his Google, like on Google here at the moment, and looking at a few wee bits and pieces, and this guy, like, I don't know. There's nothing really here that is exciting me. He could do that, and I think that could be an angle. I don't know if there's any. It's saying here, yeah, he was officially recognised, which is
Tell me
interesting.
this: do you think it's that they're bringing too many people up too quickly?
They do, yeah.
And that's
At the
nothing to
one
do
time,
with the talent themselves. But I remember for the first few weeks, I was getting confused between Ethan Page and Ricky Saints. I was
yeah.
like, which one is which? And now, obviously, they are definitely very different, and I recognize that. But it's like a football team. Like whenever you're
Mm.
building your squad, like you want to bring in, you want to take the Shamrock Rovers approach. Like you want to bring in two or three, like maybe one or two a season. You don't want to take another team's approach of bringing in like 15. Like
Well, this is it. Like, but you know, we've in football that doesn't work when you bring in all these stars at once. Like, I know there's kind of like this post WrestleMania thing where they feel the need to call these guys up from NXT, and obviously, they do their post WrestleMania releases or whatever. But if this guy debuts now, 4 months from now, I'm definitely more invested. Like,
yeah,
or I'm more
absolutely.
intrigued and more interested. But at the minute, I don't see like they're obviously delaying whatever they want to put him into. I know, and that's not fair on him either because you've seen they've engaged Oba into a good angle. Trick Williams has been given some good stuff. Javon Evans has been given some good angles too, in my opinion. Ricky Saints seems to be given some good opportunities at the minute. So these recent guys that have launched onto the roster, they don't feel that they're in a place to do that with Ethan Page, so they're delaying him. So why not just hold this guy until post SummerSlam to pull him in, and then actually put him into something meaningful because it's filler. That's all this is. And it was a superb match, and I'm sure for a crowd that's there, they're going home entertained, or they're at least going into the next segment feeling, that they've got
Yeah.
their money's worth. But there's nothing, like, I'm not sure what the continuity is on this. Do you know what I mean?
Which, in fairness, the real losers on this in this are the talent. Like
The talent, like 100%, like this guy's going to suffer, and his star could burn out before it's even got a chance to shine. Do
yeah.
you know what I mean? So I
Which
don't know. It
brings us
remains
to
to be
one of
seen.
your we were talking about cops. Brings us to one of your favorite people on the roster at the minute, What do you make of the Sol Ruka vignette? Sol Ruka, thrill seeker. I can see it. The poster, Sol Ruka, thrill seeker, coming to a cinema near you.
I have to really say, like, you've definitely like warped my perception over now.
Don't be
I still
telling
think
anyone that because no.
no, you know what I mean in terms of. I think she's got a lot of bells and whistles. I think she's obviously very athletic. I think her finisher's superb. I think it looks great. I think what the thing that really sold me on her was when she was it the Royal Rumble or a Battle Royal? It was in Saudi Arabia,
Royal
anyways.
Rumble, she debuted, I think, didn't she? Or
She
my mind?
debuted, and I thought she had a good look. I thought it was very unique. She obviously had enough within her to sort of recognize that she could offer something different in there, whereas a lot of the stars seemed to be just sheep in terms of what they were going with. But she obviously brought a new look, which I was a big fan of. I just think she's very, very good in terms of athleticism. There's definitely refinement needs to be there in terms of she's doing in the ring. I think we've kind of picked up on her promos. They're
Mm.
very, I don't want to say generic, but they do. What was it? You said she's a,
I'm not saying it. Like I'm
what
not
was the
saying it.
vacuum? She was like, no, but it's like it's a bit flat. I thought it was a fine vignette. Again, more filler. There wasn't anything overly exciting.
This doesn't tell us any more about Sol Ruka.
Yeah.
This doesn't tell us any more
Listen.
about Sol Ruka that we didn't know. And here's the thing: what do we know about Sol Ruka? That she's been built from Honolulu, Hawaii, even though she's from California. That she is a surfer. Um, and what's the line they keep using as well? What she wanted to be a stunt woman, I think, before she went into wrestling. But like, what else? What more is there? She used to be a gymnast, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Um, but all these things are, and I don't know what her real name is, and sort of out of respect for the business and all that. Like, I know anyone could just look it up, but I wouldn't. We're talking about something because I wouldn't just call somebody by their real name. Like, but that is just who. What say if her name is, I don't know, like Mary Ruka. Like, that's just Mary Ruka. That she wanted to be a stunt
Yeah.
woman. That she wanted, she was a gymnast. But what is Soul Ruka? What
hmm
exactly is that character? And um, I hope we get more of that. Like, I hope she gets to develop that. Um, but yeah, where is Becky
Yeah.
Lynch? Another talk for a different
Well,
day.
that's a good question. Like, probably something we cover in a different time too. And just because I know we have quite a bit of the show to get through, but
Yeah, we got moved
she's
on to
obviously
You and Love then, I believe.
Eon Love. I thought this was fantastic. I
What do you
thought
make
this
of
was
Eo's
so
promo though
so
beforehand?
good. Um, I think I think if it's deliberate, it's very funny. Like, I actually think it's kind of funny,
Mm.
but I don't know if that's deliberate or not. I don't know if they've deliberately, because I don't like how she's been characterized the last several months in terms of her sort of being like the sort of understudy to Rhea Ripley, which I think's ridiculous. Because I think like this is legit. Like, she's pound for pound the best wrestler she's that in the world. But I thought this sort of very innocent, over the top, positivity. I think it was so funny. Like, I thought it was really, really good. I think it creates a great contrast. You have someone who is so innocent and pure and EO, and then someone who is corrupted like Liv. Do you know what I mean? They are chalk and cheese, like, and there's a great juxtaposition there. And I thought this was really, really good. And like, the bit where she's saying about Liv's head, like, it's
That was
so
so
good.
funny.
Like, that's what kind of maybe told me that perhaps they're doing this deliberately, because that promo, it was good. Like, it is a bit of satire there. If she genuinely is trying to come across if she isn't doing that deliberately, then it's a bit weird. But I thought it was very good. I thought the segment itself was fantastic. I really really enjoyed it. I have to say.
These two women are coming out in completely contrasting colors, aren't they? Like, you know the
Yeah.
way you were saying about the contrast in their character. Like on Saturday night in Saudi Arabia, like one of them's coming out in all black and one of them's coming out in all white, right? Or am I looking into the color thing too much? The color palette. Like, I think that would be a
No,
nice
I
physical representation of the juxtaposition between the two characters.
100%. Like, and do you know what the real thing is too? If come Saturday night or Sunday morning, whenever we watch that pay per view or whatnot, like if we go and say, "Oh, that was match of the night," are you surprised? Like
Do you
these
know?
girls literally could put on like a 5-star match
But
easily.
in a way, does that not make you so much more frustrated at what's happening with EO? Like she has become just a side character, and as you
Mm,
said, an understudy to Rhea Ripley. And again, this is one of those things. You know, this time a year and a half ago, she had a winning record against Rhea Ripley. Remember
yeah,
that big blow off match and all they had, and
I was superb.
Rhea had never beaten EO, and that was the story they were telling, and then EO beat her, and Rhea eventually did get her win back and stuff like that. But like I don't know, but I think EO still has a winning record against Rhea Ripley. Like, so it didn't make any sense that EO just became this like slave to Rhea. But I know we have a lot to get through, so just a side note, like how superb was Liv Morgan? Like she,
Really, really good.
you know, again, this is just like when you talk about dream matches, like and dream programs, if they were to give it time, could you imagine like a Liv Morgan Tiffany Stratton feud? Like this is the
Mm.
stuff of dreams. Like this is the stuff.
That's like an Austin Rock feud there. Like
That's just
if it's done
amazing.
correctly,
And
it's really
either
really
and
good.
either of them could play either role.
Yeah.
Like Tiffany could be the face, she could be the heel. Liv equally, would just be superb. It would just be superb.
This is the two popular girls in school going head to head. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, this is what you want to see. Do you know? But it's it's interesting. Like, who do you think goes over? Who wins Queen of the Ring? Do you think it's Liv, and then she obviously tries to become the champ, or does Io win? And does that leave Io going into a feud with Rhea, or potentially Liv, obviously as well? I think we spoke about this before. That she could be going, a Night of Champions. I got one over you, and I think I'm capable of winning the title against you. It can work either way for Io, but I think I wouldn't be against them putting two belts on Liv.
The beauty of it is that it's so open.
Mm,
It could go either way, and there's so many ways and facets of orchestrating it. Particularly when we looked at the backstage segment then with Raquel and Roxanne and stuff. They could easily cost Liv or whatever, or coming out to help, but end up not helping or whatever it might be. Um, the thing is, though, as much as it would be great, like we have seen Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley so recently already.
mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be against it. I really wouldn't. Um, Somehow, I don't see the double belt thing because then those two belts are de facto the belts of the brands. Does that
Yeah,
mean Liv's going to show up on Raw and SmackDown? And how long is that
yeah,
going to last? Really, you could easily have Liv win and then lose the match against Rhea as a result of Raquel and Roxanne.
yeah.
But it's wide open, and in a way, that's the best thing. Whenever something's completely wide open.
It is definitely wide open. I would agree, and I think I'm not against either of them winning. Sort of on the assumption that it's booked correctly, particularly for Io. I think if she goes against Rhea, like what if she goes against Rhea and not like heel turn per se, but there's a darker character comes out as a result, you know.
How superb would
Uh
it be if she went up against Rhea and like you just had remember for months we had Asuka just shouting
Yeah.
Kyrie Bane's name. Yeah.
Yeah, and imagine she's adopting the Asuka war paint and going up against Rhea. And like you really re-establish, you're one, evolving the character, two, you're re-establishing her as a credible force, which is something that's probably taken a major hit in the last year. Do you know what I
Imagine
mean?
if those two girls return. Imagine if Kyrie
Oh
and,
my
and
god.
Asuka came back and they went full Kabuki Warriors and they, Io won and she went on like a long reign decimating people like with Asuka. Like I would be 100% for Io winning and then like, Asuka and Kyrie being the tag champs again, like and
And then
all the gold being with the Kabuki Warriors, like.
obviously, well, like imagine then like that sort of Judgment Day, the girl section of the Judgment Day, um, and the Kabuki Warriors sort of clashing heads. Like it'd be great. Like
It was so good, like.
it'd be so good. Like, but it is wide open, and there's a lot of things they could do. So, I think we'll obviously get a better idea of how things play out come Night of Champions. But yeah, promising stuff there. Really good segment. Now we had some stuff with Danhausen, which is a feature every single week with this guy, and he's just smashing it out of the park every single time. And it's quite beautiful that like this guy's not doing anything in the ring. Like, do you know, has this guy had one or two matches at best, and they've been very entertaining. But he's obviously being brought in for his backstage segment where he enacted the curse onto JD. He's been obviously doing this stuff with Kit Wilson and The Miz for the last several weeks, but he's put the curse on JD. Well, he hasn't essentially. He didn't actually put the curse. It's JD has touched the machine. Isn't that what it was?
No, I think he did curse him. Did he not? Did he not
Did
curse
he?
JD?
Oh,
And
he
then
did
JD
curse
was
him.
sort of
I'm
in a cocky way.
uncursable.
Was like, "I'm not cursed," and then he was going to lift the machine to prove that he wasn't cursed, and the
Yeah,
rest was history.
that's right. Yeah, and we spoke about JD because that sort of leads us into, we did have LA Knight versus Jim as well, which we'll touch on, but that leads us in some gold moments for uh, JD. Even small things, I think it's subtle, but the way he's taken off his hairband when he's obviously fallen down, and he's someone that probably has exceeded all expectations the company has had of him, but ultimately hasn't really been given as much opportunity as he's deserved. And obviously now Finn's moved away, and there's a bit of separation between the two, which I think is very positive for JD. Um, he should hopefully get his opportunity to blossom. So I'm looking forward to that. You
Absolutely.
know,
And here's the thing, really, like when you look at how superb JD is in every regard, like the humor stuff and the ring and all that, like you're not telling me that this guy's worse than Jey Uso, like. You know what I mean? Like,
hi,
and look at the difference in treatment, like of these. If JD,
110%.
if JD was, and no, don't get me wrong, I don't think it's just the fact that he's not American because look at Gunther and stuff. But like, if this guy is, if this guy's from Tulsa, Oklahoma, like, and he's 6'3", and he's doing the same thing, this guy could be the face of the company, like. But for whatever
100%.
reason, they just don't. They've put that ceiling on him. But again, like another Irishman, but just superb. Like everything. And the other thing is, like, he is really charismatic too. Whenever he's on
Yeah.
screen, he's really charismatic. So I'm all about this. And Danhausen to scream. Dominic as well. Especially
Yeah.
mention of Dominic, just great stuff altogether.
Well, just to go back on that point about JD, like, obviously, I do think there's a physicality that is always going to be present there in WWE, which I do understand. It's not that this guy's in bad shape, like he's in superb shape. It's just perhaps like was this guy like 5'8", 5'9", but like this guy, if you said he was 6'3", like he could be Drew McIntyre. Like he is just as charismatic. His stuff in the ring's superb. Obviously, I think that'd be altered or changed if he was a bit taller. But I was just like, this is a guy you want in the trenches with you. Like, this is someone you can hang your hat on and give him any spot, and he does something decent with it. He's not letting you down. Like, I remember that time. Remember he did like a moonsault,
Yeah.
and he hit the back of his head off the ring announcer's table. Like,
Um,
this guy is like, a warrior. Like, I think he still finished the match. Like, this guy, if he tears his quad, he's finishing that match. Like
uh,
this guy he's a real throwback. And as I say, if he was from, I know New Hampshire and 6'3", he could be the face of the company. He could easily fit into a Drew McIntyre role in that level. Like, that could be his level. I don't think he'll ever be in the main event again, just because of his size and so on. I think it's too
yeah.
big of uh, a bridge to cross for him. But yeah, it was really, really good. And I think that's something I'll be looking forward to over the next number of weeks.
No, it's just
Certainly.
a small side note before we move on, because I know we've got the Seth promo and then the main event, but like it's sort of interesting and fun, isn't it, with the Judgment Day, where it's a stable. It's nearly basically like a female-led stable with a few men. Like, it's a
Yeah,
nice
I love
flip.
that.
Like,
Like,
it's a really nice flip. Like, you mentioned this. I think you'd mentioned this to me months ago. Whenever like
mm,
JD was out and Dominic was out for a while, and at one point it was just Finlay, and Finn was
yeah,
like sitting like playing computer games, and then there was Roxanne and Liv and Raquel or whatever, and it was sort of, it's just a nice flip on what is
100%.
traditionally the case in wrestling. Like,
And I think it's really refreshing to see it. Like, and it doesn't feel forced. Like, it feels like
yeah,
it's been very organic, which I think makes a big difference. And people love them and love this group. Particularly, I think with Dom, but with Raquel's over, Roxanne's over, JD's over, Liv. I've probably mentioned her already, but they're all over, and it's really really good.
I know
It
that
did look.
they're fulfilling different parts on this card, but like, and like the Judgment Day maybe aren't going to go down in history the way the Bloodline has, but look at the way the Judgment Day has elevated everyone that's went into that group, all the way from the
Yeah,
very start when it was set up by with Age and, like, lest we forget, Damian Priest won a world title. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
Like,
It's definitely evolved, and I like that. I think anything that has meaningful evolution in terms of storylines and angles and looks and what and dynamics, I think it's what we need, because things can become very stale very quick in wrestling, and something like you see some of the storylines that can either feel very quick, very short, or they can feel very dragged out and very long. So you know. No, I think we did miss the Jimmy and
LA,
LA match. I didn't have any notes on it personally. Obviously, Solo, like you'll have to remind me here, but Solo came out, if I'm not mistaken. Is that what we spoke about earlier?
Jimmy's on the top rope and Solo. Do you know what? I didn't really watch it to see, like, where was the referee there to see this, but I don't know, maybe the
Aye,
referee was looking somewhere. But Solo, Jimmy was on the top turnbuckle, and Solo comes in from the crowd in a dashing red suit, might I add. Like, I would love to add
yeah,
that one to my collection, but comes in. Um, is he going to side with them or whatever? But no, referencing back to SmackDown, where he basically threatened the Bloodline and said, you're sticking your nose in my business, I'm going to stick my nose in yours. He gives Jimmy the spike to his older
yeah,
brother, of course. LABFT for the one, but just a sort of tilt of the hat to that. Did you see that suplex on the apron, the ring apron, between LA Knight and Jimmy? Oh my god! Like, I'm sitting here in this really comfortable chair,
mm,
basically zero pain. Like, what these guys put their bodies through for our entertainment, like, I can't even imagine how excruciating that the pain must be, like, with that. But just wow.
it makes you definitely appreciate it. And I know, listen, we're not putting together any matches, but we've both taken bumps, and this is like it does. Like, these guys are warriors. Like,
Ah,
do you
yeah.
know what I mean? It's madness. Like,
And
so,
I suppose in a way, like, zooming out the way, like I don't only speak for you, but I would say you're probably in the same boat, that when we're speaking about stuff, it's always from the place of like when we're talking about JD or we're talking about LA Knight or whatever. It's like, you know, you want to give these guys the absolute best because like you have so much respect for what they're doing. Like
A hundred percent.
these guys are so resilient and robust that they're going through that every day. Like I compare to what I do, like, and it's like chalk and cheese. Like so, fair play to them. Like
100%. Like these guys are, they're warriors. Like they definitely are. So I know we're both sort of conscious of the fact of time, and we're kind of looking to watch this World Cup. Which is the challenge that we're going to be faced balancing, watching and keeping on top of the wrestling content and the football content, and of course the League of Ireland and our other commitments.
yeah,
We need to get our priorities right, but we're leading into the main event here with the Street Profits, which again I don't have any notes on this, but a really really outstanding match. Really really good. I think to me the Street Profits have been stars ever since first laid eyes on them, probably a couple of years ago, and I think they're really good. I think either guy, they're obviously seeming to keep the team together. That's probably what they're going to do long term. They've obviously had their tiffs and spats and quarrels, but I think these guys, if they were solo performers, I think they're superb, and I think it's great that they're in this spot. And obviously, we didn't touch on the Seth promo, but he's tied into the storyline too. But to me, this was a really really outstanding match. I'm glad to see them get the belts. And yeah, hopefully now these guys get the opportunity to really shine at the level that they deserve.
did you notice that during the interview, Seth? Now this has been a few times where he's really really complimented the Street Profits, which is fantastic to see because I think as fans we're all sitting there going, these guys are fantastic. Why aren't they doing more with them? So it's great to see again, just the way LA Knight sort of was our mouthpiece against the Bloodline, Seth being the mouthpiece of the audience for this. And just one thing I noted, you notice that how hard that double clothesline was between Braun Breaker and Angelo Dawkins. Like they nearly took each other's heads off.
Oh, it
Um,
was.
and here's the other thing, like the Anointment does a great finisher as well for the Street Profits, but does Montez Ford have the best frog splash? Like,
Oh,
is he in the top five of all time? Like, and here's the thing: I have to admit, I am sort of strictly a WWE fan. Like I don't, my global world wrestling knowledge is not good at all. But is in terms of what I've seen, like, is this guy top three, top five frog splash? Like,
who's in that then? So I actually
RVD
think
there,
look,
RVD.
RVD's there. Is Eddie on there?
All I can think of is the frog splash to broccoli.
It's, do you know what? He's so iconic, and it's synonymous, that finisher with him, to me, anyways. But if we're, I don't know, if we're being objective here, like Montez Ford, I think Logan Paul's got a great frog splash as well.
What about Dominic?
Dominic's is really good, which is interesting because he's obviously, I wouldn't say that's where his talent lies, is in ring performing. Like, he's not given the smoothest 619 in the world, but for some reason he's very, very good at the frog splash. Maybe, does it suit actually what's the word? Not lanky, not stringy, not gangly, but a taller performer,
Just
because
very lean
Dom,
guy, like.
a lean guy that's, 6'2" plus, because that's what Montez, Logan, and Dominic all have in common. Whereas the Eddie one, because of his body shape too, it's very compact, isn't it? Like, and you don't quite. He probably doesn't quite get that same spring and airtime. Like these guys feel like they're floating. And do you know what's very good about Montez Ford's is that after.
Yeah,
That's what separates him, isn't it? Like,
the
it's
bounce
how he sells
off the ring.
after. That really really takes it home. Like it
RVD did
looks
that
like
as
this
well, didn't he?
guy. He did, yeah. It just seems to me though Montez Ford is like. It looks like this guy's laid it in. Like that's genuinely hurt his opponent, but also he's lost a bit too. And I love that idea of he's hit his finisher. He's taken the risk, but at what cost? Do you know?
Yeah.
That's what it's about. That is wrestling 101. Like, that is as good as it gets. Do you
Uh,
know what I mean?
here's a question. I don't know if you remember it. What did you make of Liv Morgan's frog splash? Remember, she's busted it out a
It was
few times as
terrible.
well.
Like, I thought it was so bad. I thought it was really, really bad.
Do you think it's because of her height? Like again, she's like 5'1". Like
Potentially, yeah. I think it's two. She didn't. So she was obviously. Because who was she against? It was Charlotte, was it? No.
I can't remember now to be honest.
But obviously they've put the knees up, and she's obviously braced for that impact, because you have to obviously, like, of course, like, I don't know why I'm explaining it, but if anyone's listening and isn't sure, if you take that without bracing for it, you're breaking your ribs. So she's kind of broken her fall, hasn't she, with her legs before she's actually landed on the knees, and it doesn't look good. Like, it
But
doesn't look
like,
good.
here's the thing. Like no surprises here. This is probably Captain Obvious, but no, I can imagine Soul Rico would do a great frog splash.
Yeah, because
She's the
of her
body
build.
type, like, doesn't she?
What about somebody like a Tiffany then?
I think she'd be superb. Like.
Probably.
I'm a huge fan. Like, so
Aye, whatever she touches is gold. But I think she's kind of on
like on
that.
Saturday night, whenever Jade Cargill crushes her again, because for some reason WWE they hate Bethany Stratton for no reason. Like.
I know. We'll have to see how that plays out. But do you think Jade wins that?
I'm undecided. Like my heart and head are saying two different things. Like I'm undecided. I'll have to. Hope Tiffany retains, but I'm not sure if it's going to happen.
Are you looking forward
Night of
to Night
Champions.
of Champions?
Any pay-per-view which we can watch at a reasonable time is always wonderful. It's like whenever they go to Australia and stuff, and all these pay-per-views. Like, so I am looking forward to it. Like, I don't, you know what? I suppose before we finish up, should we? I haven't watched SmackDown yet. I know it's not officially up, but recorded and stuff. Should we go through the card? Should we end the show? Should
Yeah,
we end the show by just like doing picks maybe picks on the
yeah.
on the Night
100%.
of Champions
We
card. Like.
don't need to lock these in per se, but we can certainly talk about them. So let's see. Night of Champions 26. Is that card finalized, I wonder?
You say I don't want to spoil SmackDown for myself either. Maybe something happened on SmackDown where a match was added randomly or something. I don't know.
I'm going on Wikipedia here. So I feel like Wikipedia couldn't spoil it. Jey Uso versus Oba. Who's winning the final?
Colin, I'm gonna go Oba.
Okay, I'll go with Oba too. Io Sky versus Liv Morgan.
EO.
I'll go with Io as well. Okay, I'll answer first this one. Trick Williams versus Ricky Saints. I think I'm going to go with Trick Williams.
I was going to go Trick Williams too, but just to be different, otherwise people are going to think that we're just robots. I'll go Ricky Saints. It's like he's definitely not winning, but just to vary it up, I'll go Ricky Saints.
Okay, this is an interesting one. We might differ on this. Braun Breaker versus Seth Rollins.
Braun.
This is tough. You think Braun?
Braun. I think after Seth interfering in the division match on Monday night, I think this ends at War Games. Like, I think it's it's like a long. It depends if they want to, I don't know, draw it out that long. But if they do draw it out that long, I think this could end up War Games with a return. You could have like a triple, a 6-man SummerSlam. Seth loses because of interference with the division. 6-man SummerSlam, Braun Breaker returns, cost them, and then you have your blow off at War Games. I don't know who the fourth man for Seth's team will be, but so I see Braun winning.
Okay, I'll go with Braun too. Just I haven't really, and I wouldn't be able to articulate it as well as you had, and sort of the rationale. I think, this isn't a fully fit Seth Rollins. Like, do you know what I mean? This is like I'm going to try and end
storyline, like, or
in storyline,
Yeah.
storyline. So I'm trying to think. Like
This is Michael Owen with Manchester United, pay as you play, like, you know.
yeah, this is like, he's just after. He's like Virgil van Dijk after his ACL reconstruction that first season after he came back to Liverpool. He's not quite the same. He's a shadow of him former self. And so I think they might give Braun the nod, and I do think Braun needs that too, to be fair. Now, we've got our two matches here then to sort of tie us and take us out to the end of the show. Cody Gunther versus Sami, triple threat for the undisputed WWE Championship.
Again, I'm gonna go with my heart on these last two, like, so I'm gonna go Gunther submission on Sami for the belt.
Okay.
Which allows them to continue the Cody Gunther thing without protecting Cody. But I would say I think that the house money is on Cody, like, but I hope Gunther can win, because I don't want Gunther to lose again.
Yeah, I suppose maybe this isn't a valid argument. I'm going to go with Cody. I just feel like, I don't know, I just can't see a Saudi Arabian audience want this Gunther to win, like, do you know what I mean? And I think they are cognitive of that sort of booking, and I feel like, I think Gunther needs that opportunity, but I think it'll be a good match, because even if they do put it, regardless of who wins, you can protect all stars.
Do you know what I mean? Do you think Cody wins by pinning Sami?
Yeah. That's what I see. I think Cody wins by pinning Sami, or Gunther wins by pinning Sami. I think Sami just doesn't win. Like, I think whoever he pins, he hurts. Do you know what I mean? So that's I'm going to go with Cody. That's what my head. My heart would say Gunther, but I'm going with my head saying Cody.
That's the sentimental thing. Like, every time Sami's in Saudi Arabia, they always have him come out and, obviously he can speak the language and everything as well. Like,
that's right.
Know the pre-title sequence that they have with the WWE then, now, forever together. Mm-hmm. There's definitely a 2-second clip of Sami Zayn holding the belt above his head in Saudi Arabia. Like, is this the moment that they're gonna make that a reality? I don't know. I don't think so, to be honest. But
I don't think so.
Out there, like.
These guys could pull the trigger though come WrestleMania next year in Saudi Arabia. That's a possibility, which I just don't want to see. But and then our final match now, I assume this isn't headlining, but Tiffany versus Jade Cargill. I think Jade's going to win it. Like,
I'm gonna, like, my head is saying Jade, but no, I have to go with my heart here. It needs to be Tiffany time again. Like,
this is a real, like, it is funny because I do like Tiffany. I don't want to say I don't, but like, I'm a huge Jade fan. Like huge. I think she's superb.
But do you know what the funny thing about this is? And anyone that knows us, like, I suppose I was going to say anyone that knows us, but nobody that we really know we speak wrestling with, like, but it's like, if you were a fly on the wall, and if you did know us speaking about wrestling, like, we are so diametrically opposed on this, but not in the sense that neither of it. It's not that I dislike Jade or that
it's not Sean dislikes
Tiffany, but it's like he loves Jade and everything that Jade does, and the exact same with Tiffany. Like, so this is like the face or Friel ultimately.
This is the final boss battle for face or Friel. Like, so. Right, so that's our picture. You're going with Tiffany, I'm going with Jade. So, but interesting. We'll see how it plays out. If we review SmackDown, then we might need to maybe, I don't know, things might change and develop. But for now, that's sort of our, not locked in, but our first sort of go at picks. We can review that then. Come after post SmackDown. All right, so. Listen, I think that was good. We did over an hour and a half there, so very, very appreciative of that, Nathan. I think it was some good content there, and hopefully somebody somewhere out there has taken some sort of
enjoyment,
enjoyment. Yeah, so
escape from the workplace or whatever it is. Like, I know for me, that's definitely what wrestling is for me. Like, it's
and likewise,
complete sheer escapism. Storytelling, drama, And that's why, again, not to go, put too much egg in the pudding, but like that's why the Dan noise and stuff and all is fantastic.
Yeah,
Like WWE, it is that broad church. If
yeah,
you want the real aggressive stuff, you've got your Brock Lesnar, and if you want your supernatural stuff, you've got your supernatural stuff, and your Undertakers and all that, and the rest. Like so, no, it's a great escape for me. So it's a privilege to speak with you about it, Sean.
aye, no, 100%. I'm sure. Listen, fingers crossed. We'll keep this content coming forward. But I think we're happy enough to leave it there, folks. And listen, like, share, and subscribe. Do what you need to do. And keep an eye out for more episodes of Face and Friel. Okay, bye.